We want to bring in Peter Morici. He is an economist and University of Maryland professor of business. Peter, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Nice to be with you.
How would you characterize where we are right now in the economy, and is that backdrop the way to look at how to allocate money in the stock market?
My feeling is the outlook for the economy remains quite good. I expect second quarter growth to come in at about 2.5%, the same in the third. We've just gotten used to having a bad first quarter. I think that corporate profits will improve. The only real problem here is the re-strengthening of the dollar because of the translation effect on profits earned abroad.
Hey, Peter, I think you brought up a great point on these currency movements because we've seen that's what's dictating central banks across the globe and really influencing what they're doing with monetary policy. But you're talking about the economy being strong and resilient, but we've seen the last 5 job numbers have actually been revised down. They're not doing well. We're seeing jobs continuously. The last jobs number, 38,000, it was worse than the most pessimistic estimation. I mean, can you see that going forward? I mean, you think we can get a rebound in jobs when we hit peak earnings 2 years ago?
We are going to continue to see a downtrend in the number of jobs created in the economy. 2014 was better than 15, and 15 will have been better than 16. The very low number last month also had to do with the Verizon strike, and it was just an abnormality. It's that simple. We should create about 150,000 jobs a month. That's not, maybe 175. That's not good. However, we have to recognize that all this new technology that's coming online that permits businesses to substitute machines for people who do ordinary things is having an impact, as is the higher minimum wage in a lot of urban areas, Obamacare, and so forth. You know, you simply can't pay people $25 an hour with all the benefits that Mayor Bellagio would like to endow and have them serve hamburgers at McDonald's. A hamburger at McDonald's is not worth that much. You'd have to charge, you know, $11.50 for it.
Right.
It was good to see you, Peter. The Wall Street Journal did a survey recently talking to about more than 700 small businesses, and about a third of them are pulling back on investment or basically doing nothing because of the election coming up. Does that get worse? I mean, and does that send us into a recession?
Well, at Fox, this might not be comforting, but I think as we move through the summer, it will become more apparent that Hillary Clinton's going to win the election. And that will mean basically the status quo ante. I don't think that she will get a lot of her social agenda out of Republican Congress, nor is she going to get much of the higher taxes she seems to talk about daily. Reality, I think her attention's going to be focused on foreign affairs, the situation in Europe, on fighting ISIS. I expect a more muscular approach. As that comes into focus, I think that businesses will feel more confident about the future.
Yeah.
Even if they are sympathetic about Trump, you know, it's a real wild card as to what he will do.
You know, it's interesting, but I think following up on Dagan's point, you know, businesses have been reluctant to put money to work, right, Peter? I mean, they're sitting on cash amidst all of the uncertainty. Why would a President Clinton unleash the money that's sort of sitting on the sidelines, right? I mean, if it's going to be very similar policies than what we've seen from President Obama. You know, Donald Trump in his speech yesterday addressed the economic turmoil. He believes bad trade deals are inflicting on the U.S. Listen to this. I want to get your reaction to that as well.
I'm going to withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which has not yet been ratified. The Trans-Pacific Partnership is another disaster done and pushed by special interests who want to rape our country, just a continuing rape of our country. That's what it is, too. It's a harsh word. It's a rape of our country. This is done by wealthy people that want to take advantage of us and that want to sign another partnership.
So on the one hand, Peter, you've got Trump wanting to redo all these trade deals, and then on the other, you've got Hillary Clinton wanting to continue Obama's economics. Why would we see any improvement of the economy?
Well, simply because it provides some certainty. Some of the things that Mr. Trump said yesterday were just absolutely off the wall, and others were just business as usual. For example, right now we don't have a TPP, and we're not going to get one because the Congress won't approve it. But tearing up NAFTA, you know, I have a lot of trouble with our trade relations, but they're mostly focused in Asia, and in particular China, South Korea, Japan. Ripping up NAFTA serves no really good purpose, yet he seems to focus on Mexico with obsession. A lot of small businesses people understand that. They see it every day. They know where the real competition is coming from. So why should they have confidence in someone who's behaving like a loose cannon? When it comes to China, by the way, he was really proposing the status quo ante, using the trade laws and so forth, things that President Obama has been doing with little effect. He seems to have backed away from the Morici-Krugman solution. At each end of the spectrum, you interviewed me about this in Business Week several years ago.
Yes, I remember.
We have advocated a steep tariff, not for the purpose of shutting down trade, but for the purpose of bringing them to the table.
Right.
Because if there's anything the United States lacks with China, it's credibility that we will act.
Well, Trump's speech, yeah, there's a little bit of crazy in it, but in terms of, what you said yourself about, minimum wage creating problems, Obamacare creating problems, but you think Hillary is going to win, those are all the things that she's linked to because she can't criticize Obama the way that Trump can.
Well, that's true, and I expect those things to continue, but the economy does grow at about 2% a year with those policies. I think it's the uncertainty that Trump creates and the fact that every day there seems to be a new Donald Trump. Yesterday's trade policy talk was very surprising in some regards, and I wonder just who's writing the stuff over there. The Trump campaign reminds me these days of an Elvis roadshow. It goes from city to city, puts on a great show, rallies its fans, but when it leaves very little behind in the wake.
When you see terrorism the way we saw it today, does that help or hurt Hillary?
I don't know that it does anything if it's not here. I think if we start to get more terrorist acts here, it starts to hurt her.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he has to sound like he has a reasoned and reasonable response. I mean, is he someone you'd let drive your daughter home from the prom? He reminds me of Johnson in Britain, and the answer is no.
Yeah. All right, Peter. Thanks so much. Appreciate your
Take
opinions
care.
this morning. Peter Morici joining us right there.